So the session today, what we'll be looking at today is the current position on business rates since we've introduced the process. We'll also provide an overview of the service and including what information will be required for the claims template. Provide a very brief overview of what's required on the accounting side, and then what the next steps are from April. So we introduced the Business Rate Central process in April of last year. The aim was to streamline and simplify the complex flow of business rate funding by the ESFA making payments directly to billing authorities. This removed the need for maintaining schools and academies having to make the payments to the billing authorities. It does remain optional at this stage to move over to central process, but it's just to note that at this stage we are working with DLUC to get this changed. So at some point all billing authorities will be asked to move across. Whilst it remains optional, what we do need to point out is that in district areas, all of the billing authorities in that area must agree for them to be able to move across. So, you know, if only 3 out of the 5 agree, for example, we won't be able to allow you to move over to the new process. So we rolled out the process, the central payment process in April last year. So this is the second year of the rollout. We have got 106 billing authorities on board now, and we have got that's mean we've paid just over 13,000 school properties have claimed through the central process. In terms of the data for this year, for 23-24, 88% of the new claims were immediately paid in June. So that's where billing authorities submitted claims to us. By the May deadline, we were able to make those payments in June. Any additional claims where we had queries or there were in-year adjustments were paid during the period July to November. There's no impact on local authorities where the billing authority is still on the existing or the old process. Those local authorities will continue to be funded via the data submitted on the APT. So what are the benefits of moving across to a central system? So first of all, it removes the lag in funding because all bills are paid in real time. Your schools do not have to absorb the increased costs, which is, you know, down to revaluations or, you know, the inflation increases or rises to the multiplier. The payments are made by the ESFA in a single payment, and any adjustments to your bills are paid within the year. So basically your bills are being funded in real time. You do only have a single point of contact to manage any queries. So whereas before you may have to write out to individual schools, ESFA will be your point of contact for that, and we can resolve any queries that you may have. Now, based on this, is not just from us what we're saying it, but based on the feedback we've had from our users, that the feedback is that the NNDR, the claims portal is user friendly and it's straightforward once you've got your data. So in terms of the feedback, we have been continuously seeking the feedback since we launched the central process last year. As you can see from the feedback, the majority of the feedback is that the system is quite easy to use, and once you've got your understand what data is required, you know, the process from there on is quite simple. Now, I have noted on there that it has been flagged by a couple of local authorities to us now in terms of the collection rates and how that's been affected. But just to provide some assurance on that, we have started some conversations on that internally to see what we can do about that. So we are looking to address that issue moving forward. What we're going to do now is we're going to hand over to our systems colleagues, first of all, Rizwan, to provide an overview of the service.
In terms of using our service, some of you might already be aware of that you have to come through the front door called DFE sign in. If you haven't already got an account, how to create an account, I'll go through some of the steps, and obviously I'll link to the guidance if you want to know step by step how to do that. So initially, you need to have a DFE sign-in account. to have one, you need to have a valid business email address, which is not name specific. Any generic email addresses are not permitted in the DFE sign-in. If you've already got one that's working, that's great. You can carry on using it. If it's not name specific and generic, you might get an email in near future to say that you need to have a name specific email address. That's a business email address that you can carry on using if you want to carry on using our DFE sign-in services. In terms of the service, if you opt in, you need to have your account created and linked to your billing authority and not the local authority. The difference between the two I will be showing you shortly. But if you are going into the DFE sign-in and you are linking your organization to your account, you would be typing in the UK PRN, the unique identifier, or you'll be typing in the name, and that will give you the couple of options, usually with the name search, and one of them would be the billing authority, and that's the one you need to select. That's the only time you'll be able to access the services and complete the forms. Now that I just show you how to go about doing that. So when you click on that link, you'll be coming onto DFE sign-in page. Whilst you're on this page, if you have your credentials, you enter them in here. And if you don't, you just can create an account. When you click on it, you'll be asked to enter your first and the last name and a business email address. And as mentioned before, when you do that, you need to make sure that it's a business email address and it's name specific. Once you've done that, your request will be sent off to the DFE sign-in team. They will send you a verification code in the email, which you need to enter in order for you to have access to these services. Once you have got the services, you'll be going into DFE sign-in. You need to click on the organizations tab at the top. And on here, you'd see the related actions where you just click on request access to an organization. And then you type in either your unique identifier or any of the names that you can think. I just type in Oxfordshire. And if you just click search, so you would have the options come up. So you can see you go Oxford Council. But if you just carry on looking, you should be able to see you'd have the billing authority and you'll have the city council as well. You need to make sure you click on the billing authority to access the service, not the city council itself. You click on confirm and the request will be sent to the approver. Approver will be someone who monitor the security, who can access the service within their organization. It can be anybody who's a business manager or a senior administrator who will be monitoring the access for your organization. Once the request been sent off to the approver will just need to go in. In terms of not having an approver, your request will be sent off to the DFE sign-in. If you're the first person who's actually sending the request to link your organization to your account, you will be made approver. Usually it takes up to 5 working days, and DFE sign-in team would notify you via email once your request has been fulfilled. I now pass that on to my colleague Jane Vicente. She would be going further into detail on how you'll be using our services.
So the NNDR service, we've got sort of one service that's sort of broken into 3 different parts. This will be the front page that you'll see. So when you navigate to the service link here, so this is after you've done all of that step about setting up your username and your password, you'll navigate to this start page of the claim service. And this will navigate you through to the right area. So this is like the front door. In essence, we've done it this way so that we've got one route into the claim service, regardless of whether you're an academy trust or a billing authority, just to try and reduce some of that confusion that's out about which service people are using. So as a billing authority, you'll click on billing authority and then the service will route you through to where you need to go. the way that the claim service works, it's driven by a claim template file, which is an Excel document that we will ask you to populate with your claims against all of the schools in your area. Dave Smith, our operational team colleague, will be going through that template and what we're asking you to complete in a second. But this functionality is really just how you can transfer that spreadsheet across to us. So there's two options to go through into the service. You can just click to download the claim template here. If you're in the service and you haven't used it for a while, we would advise you to go in and download a fresh template just to make sure you've got the most up-to-date one. We don't tend to change it periodically. It's normally like an annual update that we do on it, but there might be instances where we would change it in year. So it's probably favourite to go in and download it before you upload it to us. So all you will do here is you will click on this download the template file, and it will just download it straight to your machine, and then you can use it as an Excel file from there. So the template opens as an Excel document, which hopefully you're all familiar with using, and then you can populate your information in there. At this point in the journey, you can carry on to upload your file, or you can close the service down and go and update the information inside the file if you want to. If you choose to upload, then the service will then bounce you to the next stage. So this is like the second part of the claim service. It will bounce you out to the billing authority service where we're asking you to upload your form. So it will take you to this start page. When you click the Start Now button, the service will take you to sign in, and that is where you will put in your username and your password that you've created for DFE sign in, and then that will route you through to this page. I've skipped that step just because to protect my email address because this is being recorded and uploaded to the web. So the service lands you on this page where we're trying to give you as much information as possible to how you need to work with the files. We are at the moment reviewing the text on these pages, so when you come to do yours, it might look a little bit different, but the functionality should still be the same. We just might dress it up in a slightly different way. We've had some feedback and also we handle some queries that come through from billing authorities, so we really want to make the process as easy as possible. So it might be that we'll streamline this and make it clearer for you. So to upload your file, you'll land on this page. We've got a whole bunch of guidance on this page to try and make the upload process as easy as possible, including a little PDF download file that's got screen grabs and stuff inside it. I'll show you that, really to take you step by step through what you need to do if you're nervous about doing this for the first time. Some people aren't, some people just go for it. I'm one of those people. I like to just go for it. But if you wanted like step-by-step guidance, that's how you can get that through that PDF file there. Otherwise, it's literally these three buttons that you need to focus on. So you've got the first button is to choose your file. There is a step in between downloading your Excel file and uploading. You'll need to save, once you've populated your claim template with data, you'll need to save it as and change it to a CSV document type. So here, I think that's one of the little bits that tricks people sometimes is you need to swap your file type from Excel to comma separated value file. That is the only type of file that the service will work with. It gets confused otherwise. This is something that we're trying to change, but we're not there yet with it. So hopefully across the next year, you'll see an improvement in the service where we can accept Excel files as well as CSVs, but we're not there yet. So when you click your file, you'll click open. This is the longest part of the journey. The service is doing quite a lot of work here. It scans the file for viruses, and also what it's doing is it's pulling out the data from your file so that it can be checked. So it depends on your internet speed, really, how long this takes. I don't think mine's super great today. It's probably the wrong type of weather, but it can take up to a minute. Again, this isn't ideal. This is something that we'd like to speed up, but we're not there with it yet. So this is just needing you to be patient while it's doing the virus scan. But what happens is the service is doing that virus check, is taking the data out and holding it in the background so that when we click the next button, you can see they're grayed out, and then you'll be able to click this validate your file button here. And that validation check checks a bunch of things in your file. It will check that your data that you've provided is in the right formats. So it checks that you've got unique identifiers for your schools. The unique identifiers that the service is looking for is called a UKPRN. I think most of you will be familiar with the UKPRN, but you might not be. You can get that UKPRN number from Get Information About Schools service, which is a published web service by government. Otherwise, in our guidance linked here, we do have a spreadsheet at the start of the year that will be updated at the start of the year that's got your billing authority unique codes and also the unique codes of the schools that sit underneath you. There you go, it worked that time. So that's what you're supposed to get successfully scanned, and then you click to validate, and then you'll likely get some errors. So the errors that are showing on this file, we've tried to be as clear as possible to show the errors. You can see row 3, column G, there's a number that isn't a number. So the service is expecting a number, but it hasn't found one. So you'll need to open your file up and look at it to see that you've got a number. The text length is not the right size, so you need to double check that. So we've tried to be specific with our error messaging so that you can go into your Excel file and check these specific cells and change the data that's inside them. You might get some strange messages, and normally if they're strange messages, it's because you haven't used the CSV file. So the commas are all in the wrong place and it gets confused. I think that's probably the biggest query that we deal with our side, is where people haven't used the comma separated file, or that their data's got commas inside it, which again has confused the service. But what you'll need to do then is go away, open up your Excel file, fix the issues that are inside it, save it again, and then just do this step again. So you're basically re-uploading the file to clear those errors. We do give some support to billing authorities that have difficulties with this step. Not too many, to be honest, but some do, and they'll come to us and we'll give them support to try and get the files into the service. Oh, it also checks that you've got information populated across all of the columns where you're supposed to have information populated. There's 2 columns at the end of the Excel that are optional, and it doesn't check those 2 columns, but the rest of the data is expecting to see data in all of those cells. There you go. So once you've cleared the validation errors, you will re-upload your file, validate your file, then you'll get this success message to say, tick, it's done all of these checks and it's passed. You'll save and continue. If you want confirmation of your submission, you can type in your email address there. And basically here, you're just ticking to say that you're happy that this is your data and that you've got authority to submit this data on behalf of your authority. There's one final check, and then you'll click to submit. And it's that click to submit that then pushes all of that data that you've uploaded and validated. It pushes it into our service so that our operational colleagues can then pick up and review your claims and approve your claims or work with you if it's needed. That's it. So you would have got an email address landing in your email inbox, and then there's a little bit of guidance around that. And that is the service.
So once you've got access to the NNDR service, you're then able to create a claim file for us to review and pay. So in terms of eligible claims, all local authority maintained schools and academies fall under this new claims process. So all of these can be submitted in your claim file. This includes any playing fields or other buildings that are used by these schools or academies, as long as they are directly used for educational purposes, so for learning. A full list of eligible claims is published on our gov.uk page, so you can review that prior to completing your form, and that'll confirm which ones can and can't be submitted to us. Some of the properties that we'd not expect to see in your claim are buildings that are not used for educational purposes. So, if, for example, we'd not expect to see a office building if it's being used for by the school, or a caretaker's house, because these should be paid directly by the school itself. We'd also not expect to see any nursery claims in there for nursery buildings, which are used solely for nursery. This is because nurseries are funded via different routes. The only exception to this really is if the nursery is part of the overall school and it's not possible to separate it out for rate purposes. Other properties we'd not expect to see to come through on the claim are pupil referral units, rented buildings, FE institutions, and private schools. But apart from those, everything else the main school and premises we would pay for. So once you've determined which properties are eligible for payments, you can then start to complete your claim form. The blank claim form can be downloaded from our gov.uk webpage, and there's also in the same location, there's also useful guidance here detailing exactly how to complete the form and what each column means. Or as Jane had mentioned earlier, there's a link when you log in. There's a link there to take you to that form. The form itself is a Microsoft Excel based spreadsheet, so it's quite user-friendly to use and looks like the image at the bottom of the slide here. Essentially, for each claim, all we ask you for is to confirm the school name and address, the property details, and the value you want us to pay. So it's fairly straightforward, as you can see at the bottom of that, the image at the bottom of the slide. When completing the form, you have two options. You can either populate it directly from your own data source, so you can take a blank form and extract your own data and populate that into the form. Or alternatively, the ESFA publish a list of schools in your area, which is in the same format as the claim sheet. So this means you can just copy and paste them directly into the form. And then all you need to do is add the account numbers and claim values against it. Either approach is fine to use. I guess it really just depends on which is easier for you. If a school is missing from our published list for any reason, for example, it's a brand new school that's not included on our published list, then you can just manually add it to the bottom of the sheet. In most cases, there's one row per school, so you'd have the main school and premises building on a row for that school. However, in certain circumstances where a school has a split site, for example, there's a separate infants and juniors buildings, which are both rated separately, then you're allowed to put two rows for the same school. So you'd have the 2 rows detailing the school, and then the property details would be different. One would be for the infants and one would be for the juniors, with separate values against them. So once your form's fully completed and generated, you can then upload it through the portal as Jane showed you. You can submit the claim form to us as many times as you want. So if your first submission has a missing property or has an error on it, just resubmit it and override the previous submission. We'll take the latest for payment. Likewise, if you adjustments can be submitted throughout the year. So if you submit a claim at the start of the year and we pay you, and then the value goes up, for example, the property's revalued, resubmit an additional adjustment for the higher value, and we'll pay you the difference. So one thing we do ask when you're populating the Excel form is that you don't amend the template format in any way, as this will prevent the automated validation that we run it through. So please don't add, remove, or rename any of the columns. Other than that, you know, you can put your own data below those main headings. So once your claim is submitted to us, we assess it and arrange for payments. If we have any queries when your claim comes through to us, then we'll contact you for further clarification, and this will go back to the person who uploaded the file. If there's any queries or we think there's missing information, we'll go back and we'll clarify that with you. Payments are automatically processed after the initial claim, after your initial upload in June, and then there's 2 reconciliation points in year at October and March where we'll pay further adjustments. And these are really designed, these additional points are really designed for in-year adjustments where there's been increases or decreases in values. We also make monthly payments if and when required. So for example, if you upload a claim to us, and we query one of the lines or one of the schools on the claim, if you provide feedback to us the following month, then we will pay you immediately that following month. You won't need to wait till the next reconciliation point. All payments you receive will be via backs as a lump sum, and currently is on the last working day of the month. When payments are made, remittances are almost automatically sent through to your finance team a couple of days before the payments is made. So they'll know it's on the way, and it's not a surprise why this payment's coming through. We'll also provide a separate detailed breakdown of payment amounts at property level, along with the associated account reference numbers, so you can see exactly who's been paid, which values have been paid. And this detailed summary sheet will go to the claim submitter, the person who's uploaded the original file. The summary, the payment summary, will be similar to the image at the bottom of this slide. It's very small extract, but obviously this will go down many rows depending on how big your claim is. If you have a query of any of your payments or claim, you can contact us at any time. We have a dedicated mailbox where you can query when a payment's going to be made, or if you want to feedback to us anything, we'll pick those up and we'll come back to you straight away. So I think that's, in terms of claims and payments, that's a very swift overview of how we process and how claims are submitted. And I'm going to hand back over to Halat, who's going to give you a quick overview of accounting and next steps of the process.
Thanks, Dave. We've included a couple of slides on the accounting side because we've got quite a few queries on how business rates should be handled in the accounts. So the 24-25 NFF allocations include funding for your business rates. So for all local authorities, regardless of the payment process adopted by the billing authority, the NFF NNDR amount for academies is deducted from the DSG. The NNDR remains part of the school's budget, and in terms of the APT, local authorities will be required to input the estimated figure for 24-25 in the 24-25 APT, and that is similar to what we did last year as well. Local authorities should only include prior year adjustments for 23-24 plus any inflation increases that are expected for 24-25 on the APT as well. And adjustments for academies, need to reiterate that point, must not be included irrespective of the billing authority approach. So in terms of the DSG then, so where billing authority on central process, what we will do, we will deduct the NNDR figure for the maintained schools from DSG payment. And again, as we said in the previous slide, for all local authorities, the ESFA will deduct the NFF and NNDR amount from academies from DSG as well. In terms of your section 251 and CFR, all local authorities must record the NNDR charges in those. There is detailed accounting guidance already out there, and we will update that for the next round as well. In terms of next steps then for April, we are, as Jay mentioned, we are looking to make some further improvements to both the claim template on the service, not massive changes, but just minor changes, just to help improve the experience for the user. We will be contacting billing authorities from next week onwards, where we'll ask you to confirm what the payment process you want to adopt from April, and then we will write back out to you in January, just confirming whether you're able to move over to the central process, because again that depends if you're in a 2-tier area whether everybody has agreed to sign up. In terms of guidance, then, so the BA policy guidance will be updated for next year as well, and that's normally published around February time. There's also detailed technical guidance, again, that will be updated in readiness for the service, which will go live on the 1st of April. Okay, so that concludes our presentation in terms of the overview of the process.